Okay, so the PLC is wired up and I've got my 3 cylinders. So the next thing we're going to do is the ladder diagram. And I mentioned earlier that we're going to do something very simple, but it's not going to work at first, and I'll explain why. So you could treat these statements as rungs in the ladder program. So I want the start push button to activate A plus, A extend, and then A1, the sensor activates B extend, B1 makes C extend, and then the reverse happens. C1 makes C retract, and so on. Okay, now that I have all my PLC inputs and outputs wired up to switches and solenoids, I need to go to the PLC configurator, which is under the ladder tab, and create all those addresses. So initially I had in my original thing in 0 was the extend button. That's now going to be called start. And in 1, instead of retract, is now A0. So I'm just going to call it A0. Out 0 in my previous program was actually, I had it as A plus, but anyway, that's going to be A plus. Now remember, I can't use the plus sign. I have to spell out A plus, and then out 1 is A minus. And now I just have to add the rest of the sensors. So that would be inputs 2 through 6. So we'll do those first. So we're going to go down here to add input output. And I can actually do this thing where I filter. I just type in, and it shows just the inputs. And the other thing I can do, I found out, you can hold the shift down and select multiple inputs and add them all at once. All right, so let's deal with these. They're going to have the same sequence of addresses. So this one here, I'm lazy, so I'm just copying here. Call that input 2. This is input 3. So these are the addresses. 4, 5, and 6. And then the names, A1, and then B0, B1, C0, and C1. Now I'm going to add the outputs. So I can do the same thing. I can filter for out. And so I want outputs 2, 3, 4, and 5. Looks like I got outputs 0 and 1 already. So 2, 3, 4, and 5. Same thing. Hold shift down and you can click them all. Okay, and so we'll do the addresses on these. That's going to be out 2, out 3, out 4, and out 5. So this is going to be called B plus. This is B minus. This is C plus. And this is C minus. All right, so the outputs and inputs are done. So now I'm going to build the ladder program. I've got the start button connected to A plus, so when the start is pressed, it should make the A cylinder extend. Now this I have to change because I want the A1 sensor, that's the extend sensor, to trigger B plus. So I'm going to change both of these. So I double click this. It might come up looking like this. That's the data. So you have to select builder, and this allows you to set the address on that input. I could just type in A1, that will work, but I can also scroll down here and double click it on the list. However you want to do it is fine. So that's A1. This is now going to be B plus. I'm going to grab that off the list, B plus. So I'm going to need a few more rungs. And so if you go over here to ladder for Allen Bradley PLC, ladder for Allen Bradley PLC 500. And then I just need basic, regular, examinative, closed inputs. And so this one is going to be, all right, if you look at this, when B extends, the B1 sensor is going to trigger, okay, so that's going to be the B1 sensor. Now I need an output here, which is going to be the C plus. And I guess I can just copy these. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need one more. So we've got the A extend sensor, A1, causes B to extend. The B extend sensor causes C to extend. Then the C extend sensor is going to cause C to retract. So let's do that. So we need this to be C1. And this is going to be C minus. Then C retracts. Now the C retract sensor, C0, should cause B to retract, so that's B minus. And then the B sensor, B0, should cause C to retract, so this will be C minus. All right, now I'm just going to connect them up. So now I need to zoom out because I want to see the whole thing working. And I'm going to just, let's see, I'll do a zoom window. And I want to be able to see the PLC and also the valves and everything. I don't need to see all the stuff at the very bottom, so that's pretty good. And so let's give it a shot, see how it goes. We'll do simulation. Okay, so I'm going to hit the start button and A extends, and that's all that happens. So why does B not extend? So if you look at the way this ladder logic is, I hit A, that caused A to extend, the A1 sensor went true, but look down here, lower down in the ladder logic, the C0 sensor, C is retracted, so the C0 sensor is true, and that is actuating the B minus. So I have both B plus and B minus actuated at the same time. So they're actually kind of fighting each other. Now, the way it works in Automation Studio, and probably in the real world too, is if it's already in a position and you actuate both solenoids, it stays where it is instead of moving. It doesn't like go back and forth or anything. So here's the problem. We have to find a way to separate out this retract part of the process from the extend part.